Let's talk a little bit more about what the implications are for the wider implications really are for the relationship between Canada and China following some of the new information from the Pentagon on the balloon with my next guest, former CSIS Director Ward Elcock. Hi, Mr. Elcock. Good to have you with us this evening.
It's always a pleasure.
I appreciate it. I wanted to start off on the new information from the Pentagon that says basically the balloon had tools on board that could collect communications signals, so that it was capable of more than, of course, the Chinese purported when it called it a weather balloon, but that it actually could collect communications from the ground. Your reaction to that?
Well, they would be able to see that from the ground. They would be able to take pictures of it, and they would know, to have some idea of what the capacity is, although they probably want to do some forensic analysis of what they find, what's left of the package that was attached to the balloon, to actually know precisely what it was looking at or have a better idea. But yeah, it appears to be that it did have an intelligence capacity, although the reality is, in most cases, I suspect everybody knew the balloon was coming. So probably most things that the balloon might have been looking for would have been shut down in any case.
The Pentagon also said, just to that point, that they thought it was one of a fleet of 40, I think, across 5 different continents. What does that tell you? And it certainly, I mean, it leaves me with the impression that they knew a lot about it before it even left China.
It certainly does. And if there were 40 of them, then they clearly are trying to collect something. What it is hard to tell, although if it's 40, it sounds like they're trying to collect some sort of baseline intelligence. For exactly what purpose, though, you can't really tell until you can see the package more clearly.
I keep getting these questions from people who watch the segments we do on this. Like, we already know China monitors us through a variety of different means. Why would they be going this route? Why a balloon?
That's the hard part to know. The reality is, I have a pretty good idea of what the U.S. capacity is in terms of its ability to use satellite coverage. I don't know precisely what the Chinese capacity is, but I don't imagine that it's very far behind. It's probably not bad at all. So why they would turn to balloons is not entirely clear. It's not particularly steerable. It would be hard to control. So precisely what they were aiming for is hard to know. But if it's a 40 balloon program or more potentially, then that suggests that they are looking for something.
Do you view it in the wider context, Mr. Elcock, as a mistake by China, given the political fallout? And by that, I mean, for example, that the Secretary of State in the U.S. was about to visit Beijing and canceled his visit or quote unquote delayed it. The Chinese ambassador here in Canada was summoned. It seems like every time there's a few steps forward, there's 15 steps backwards. Do you view this as an error on China's part?
It's certainly a surprise in the sense that it's really, really clumsy, which is sort of unexpected, but it is clumsy. It may turn out to be a serious mistake, but it certainly was a very clumsy one.
And finally, before I let you go, Mr. Elcock, in the Canadian context, more specifically, we focus so much on U.S. intelligence, the Pentagon, what they're saying. This balloon came through Canada and traveled over some parts of this country. Should we be hearing more from our own authorities on their own intelligence, or would their intelligence mostly be based on whatever the U.S. has gathered?
I think the U.S. is going to have a greater capacity to collect intelligence. They obviously have some of the parts of the balloon, or at least a portion of them. There are some signs that Canada was involved. There were some reports that a Polaris aircraft and a fuel tanker were in the area around the balloon as it transited through Canadian territory, which suggests that the Canadian military were involved in providing some level of surveillance as the balloon came through.
Okay, Mr. Elcock, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks very much for your insights this evening. I appreciate it.
A pleasure.